Good evening, everybody. Kitty Q is going to Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Cool. Well, I hope you have fun, Kitty Q. You're going to watch it and rewind. Gamma, Cement Shoes, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Give it a couple minutes for everybody to join. Rackard, good evening. Ray Anna, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope that everyone had a pleasant weekend. Why is this? Oh, that's why. I don't. I had it on. Had it on chat, top chat, not live chat. I was like, why am I seeing one comments that keep on reappearing? Good evening, Lori. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Tonight, all the questions are on John Wayne Gacy. This is part 2 of 3 that we will be doing for the year 2023. All the questions are on John Wayne Gacy, and there are no fill-ins for Did You Knows for this one, but they will be back for the next part 3 of John Wayne Gacy, but not this one. I had to take them all out because, well, they were pretty much the answers to the next trivia night that I've already have all the questions done, but all the Did You Knows from this one were the answers to the other one. So I was like, well, you know what? If somebody all you have to do is just pull up the two streams side by side, and they'd know the answers. So I had to pull them all from this one. So this one is just 18 questions. Sal, good evening, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Purple, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you both had a pleasant weekend. Andrew Pease, good evening and welcome. The correct answer is E. Give it another 40 seconds here and we'll get this started. Again, all the questions are on John Wayne Gacy. All the questions are on a scale of 1 to 10, are all fives, including the 2 bonus questions. So all 18 questions total are a 5 on the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest. A lot of these are probably you're probably gonna do good on them if you know anything about John Wayne Gacy, because they are all and pretty much in the popular culture and things that are known about Gacy himself. Every time I hear Gacy, I start craving fried chicken drumsticks. KFC, right? I get peas, record, Lori Smith and shoes. All right, let's get this party started, ladies and gentlemen. John Wayne Gacy. I will put myself in the little window here in just a minute. I want to go through the first couple here until we get to the first question, and then I will put myself into my little window. Or actually, probably I should do it now. All right, there we go. Hi, it's me in the little window. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just like all of the streams and the content you will see and hear on this channel, viewer discretion is strongly advised. And I must read the following statement to you. None of the content that I stream on this channel is meant for those under the age of 18. If you or someone who is watching this is 13 years or younger, you either lied when you set up your social media account where you're watching this, or you're using an account that it belongs to somebody else. And that is not my fault. But again, some people may find the content on this stream tonight to be disturbing. So please, again, as always, viewer discretion is strongly advised. Brief little rules that we have for this stream is we are playing only for fun. You don't have to keep score. You don't even have to know at the end of it or give yourself a letter grade. No one is better at this than anybody else. If you want to open up another tab and put the questions into Google, Bing, or whatever search engine you want, go right ahead. It's only cheating if you decide that it's cheating. Hateful or degrading remarks towards another person who is playing this game will not only get you timed out, but will get you banned. And the banned list so far is very short, and I prefer to keep it that way. There are a total of 18 questions, including the 2 bonus questions. These questions are not exploitive of the victims or families. They are for educational purposes only. And our first question for the night, ladies and gentlemen, when John Wayne Gacy arrested for his rape, murder, and torture, when was he? Was it A, October of 1978, B, April of 1978, C, December of 1977, or D, December of 1978? Good evening, Marina and Carly. Welcome to tonight's trivia. When was John Wayne Gacy arrested for his rape, murder, and torture? Scroll it up to make sure I didn't miss anybody else in the comment section. It doesn't look like I did. Welcome, everyone, again. Amy, if I didn't say hello, I'm sorry. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Doing the best I can. Found out this week that I have 2 broken vertebrae in your back. Oh, purple. I am sorry. You've had a run of luck, bad luck with your husband and yourself. My gosh. I hope that there's a way that they can fix that. When was John Wayne Gacy arrested for his rape, murders, and tortures? Question number 1. And repeats E, 1999. Great song by Prince. Prince tragically went way too soon. When was John Wayne Gacy arrested for his rape, murder, and tortures? Plural for all of them is what it should be. The correct answer to question 1, ladies and gentlemen, is D as in dog. December of 1978. He was arrested and charged with 33 counts of murder. Question number 1. Question number 2 is now on your screen. John Wayne Gacy has had several different nicknames over his lifetime. Which one from below was the nickname given to him by his employees? Was it A, Papa John, B, Creeper, C, the Colonel, or D, Mr. Fix-It? John Wayne Gacy has had several different nicknames over his lifetime. Which one from below was a nickname given to him by his employees? Good evening, Lemon Pie, and welcome to tonight's trivia. We got some B's, some A's, C's. Haven't seen a D yet. Did anybody guess D yet? Nope, don't look like it. E, the mustache. Good one, Lemon Pie. Lemon Pie says E, the mustache. Purple's going with C, the Colonel. Carly's going with C as well. E says inner peas, the Chick-fil-A. E, the Colonel of KFC, says Reichart. Moonlight View, good evening and welcome. Sunman Shoes is going with the, asshole. E, asshole. I can say it's one of the few words that are not banned on YouTube. There are a lot of words that are banned, but that is not one of them. At least not yet. F them, Paso. Question number 2. John Wayne Gacy has had several different nicknames over his lifetime. Which one from below was a nickname given to him by his employees? The correct answer to question 2, ladies and gentlemen, is C as in cat, the Colonel. Just like the Colonel of KFC, like Reichart pointed out, the Colonel. But in case you're wondering, D, Mr. Fix-It, is the nickname that he gave to himself. But the Colonel is what his employees at KFC called John Wayne Gacy, the Colonel. Clown in Spanish. Yes, it is. Question number 3, ladies and gentlemen. How many young men was John Wayne arrested for the murders and tortures of? Is it A, 25, B, 33, C, 41, or D, 18? How many counts of murder was John Wayne arrested for? Cement Shoes is going with 144,000. Clown chicken theme night. There you go. Reichard's going with E, 144,000 as well. Left-handed RN, good evening, and welcome to tonight's trivia, Left-handed RN. I hope you've been doing well, and I hope you also had a pleasant weekend. We got some B's, we got some E's, and your P's is going with E, 1999. Ray Anna is going with B as well. Question number 3. How many young men was John Wayne arrested for the murders and tortures of? Well, thank you, Gemma. Appreciate that. Moonlight View, at least B. Question number 3. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The correct answer to question number 3 is B as in boy, 33. The murder and torture of 33 young men is what John Wayne Gacy was arrested for. Question number 4. As bizarre as it may seem, John had a sweeter and gentler side, often dressing up as a clown to entertain who in the hospital in the early 1970s? Was it A, sick children, B, mental patients, C, veterans dealing with PTSD, or D, single women? He looked like my neighbor's face covered size. He looks like your neighbor Gacy does, or did, as E says cement shoes. Lori Vallow. Lori's on her way to Arizona to stand trial for what she did there. She's going to be convicted in Arizona for what she did there. Then they're going to send her back to Idaho to spend out the rest of her pathetic life behind bars. Right card's going with A, sick children. Right, Anna as well, and Marina and Gemma are all going with A, where she got her makeup ideas. 110% says Moonlight View. I'll be staying in for Halloween this year, says Inner Peas. Bogo. Bogo the Clown. Close. Change the B to a P. Pogo was his alter ego. Pogo the Clown. Close, though. Lemon Pie is going E, the Doctors. Can she get a DP in Arizona? Smith Shoes, what do you mean by DP? Death penalty? If you're meaning death penalty, Smith Shoes, the only way in the state of Arizona that they would be able to give her a death sentence is they would have to prove depraved indifference to Charles, and they would have to prove otherwise that that the murder was for hire, that she had actually promised something of financial gain or some kind of gain to Alex for actually doing it. If they can prove that, there's a chance, but I don't even think they're going to go for the death penalty there. They just want to convict her, waste more taxpayer money, and then ship her back to Arizona. Back to Idaho, I mean. So, purple is going with Inner P. E. Elaine from Seinfeld. All right, question number 4. The correct answer is A as in apple. Sick children. He would dress up, as you see in this picture here, as Pogo the Clown, and he would go to children's hospitals and to the wards in the actual hospital itself where there were children and entertain children making balloon animals and other things like a clown should do. And a lot of the times he did it out of the goodness of his own heart. So there was a sweeter and gentler side to the psychopath known as John Wayne Gacy. All right, question number 5. Still waiting for the portal to open. Good one, Carly. All right, question number 5. Which former First Lady is John Wayne Gacy seen with in this picture prior to him being named Businessman of the Year? Is this A, Marilyn Jones, B, Rosalind Carter, C, Nancy Reagan, or D, Betty Ford? Who is John Wayne Gacy in this picture with? Moonlight View's going with B, Roz. Lot of B's. Lemon pie. E, Martha Washington. E says Inner Peas, Melanie Trump. No one should get this question wrong. Well, Reichart. E, Lori Vallow. Pretty creepy. Pogo met the First Lady. Well, that wasn't the only person that John Wayne Gacy used to rub elbows with when he was he was head of the JCs there in his town. He rubbed elbows with the governor, the lieutenant governor, the head of the state patrol, the local law enforcement, they all thought that he was an upstanding, great guy who in his spare time was volunteering at the children's hospital. He had everybody snowed. Only a couple of people really looked into the disappearances and were putting the connections together that John Wayne Gacy wasn't the person that everybody thought he was. Martha Washington, her secret for a young looking skin. Meg Tilly. All right, question number 5. The correct answer is B as in boy, Rosalind Carter. Rosalind Carter is pictured with John Wayne Gacy here. There are pictures out there of Gacy at the same JC's award meeting with the lieutenant governor, who is also there along with Rosalind Carter. But he at another event he met the governor and the head of the state patrol. It were pictured on left side and right side of him. You can see those pictures online if you just Google it, you can find them. All right, question number 6. Which one from below did John Wayne Gacy hate more than anything else? Was it A, homosexuals, B, Democrats, C, liberals, or D, straight men with long hair? Which one from below did John Wayne Gacy hate more than anything else? Is it boys, folks? Surprisingly, A, says Ricard. We got A for Sal. Lemon Pie's going with D. Amy D. Marina's going with A as well. Question number 6. Cement Shoes is going with E. Mountain lions. He hated mountain lions. Rayanna's going with E. All the above. Inner P is E. Chickens. He hated chickens. He hated chickens. He served them to people. That's why he hated them so much. Kill them all. Is what John would say. Kill all those damn chickens. Let's fry them all up. E, double parkers. Ooh, that's a good one. I hate people who double park too. Question number 6. Which one from below did John Wayne Gacy hate more than anything else? Gamma is going with A. F, the cast of Jersey Shore. Hey, look, we're on question 6 and the Jersey Shore's come up. He was a Democrat. Yes, he was, Amy. He was also, some people would refer to him as a conservative Democrat or Democrat conservative, which either way. But anyways, the answer to question 6 is A as in apple. He hated people that were homosexuals, but he was himself a homosexual, a closeted homosexual, because he was married and he did have children. But he spent his entire time trying to find, the perfect young man. But he said he hated them more than anything else. Thusly, I guess you could say he hated himself. And a lot of that has to do with the abuse that John Wayne Gacy endured from his childhood, from his father, and from his uncle, who ruthlessly, tormented young John as a young child and called him, a lot of derogatory names that people would use for describing someone who is, homosexual. That's what they called him. And that his own father and uncle would just berate him constantly because he was closer to his grandmother than anybody else in his family. And his father should have been there to protect him, to stick up for him, but he didn't. Instead, he was the tormentor. All right, question 7. How many children does John Wayne Gacy have in total? Is it A, 4 children, B, 3 children, C, 2 children, or D, 5? He hated the ones who dressed better than he did. Yeah, there's a lot of things that he didn't hate it necessarily, he didn't like. I will go with that. He strongly disliked people that were a position of authority over him. He hated people who had more power, more influence. He hated people who you could put in there along with that. He really didn't like the fact that people dressed better than him, or that they were the more people paid more attention to in a social situation. He always wanted to be the star, the person that everybody looked to and wanted to talk to. Moonlight is going with C, 2. Lieutenant RN, 3. Purple, Carly, Sal, and Rykar are all going with C. 2 children is what they are going with. In a minute here, we will find out the answer. Narcissist, very much, Rykart. Very much. He had, I don't know if he was ever diagnosed as a narcissist, but he definitely has a lot of the traits his entire life, even after he was convicted of having, narcissistic personality disorder. It definitely had a lot of the traits, if not all of them. If he dressed like the Colonel Sanders here, is he dressed like the Colonel Sanders? No, this is actually a black suit and black tie. But this is another reason why his employees actually nicknamed him the Colonel, because this picture actually comes from around the time that he was managing the KFCs. All right, question number 7. The correct answer is C as in cat. He had 2, 1 boy, 1 girl, 2 children. 2 children total, but we never hear from his children. We always hear from his sister. The one sister always wants to talk about John. And her side of the family still wants to talk about John, even to this day. If you're doing an independent movie about John Wayne Gacy, you can guarantee she wants to talk to you. She loves to talk about John. Well, at least that side of the family. Not all of them are alive anymore, but they seriously like to talk about him. All right, question number 8. In order to lure young men back to his home, John converted his basement into a strange man cave, always stocked with what? Was it A, 8 different beers, B, 8 different beers and drugs of all kinds, C, 2 different beers and weed, meaning marijuana, or D, 2 different beers, marijuana, and pornos? What did he stock his man cave in the basement with? He looked like the king of Dorkville. Good one, Cement Shoes. I would change my name and move to Australia if he was related to a relative of mine. I believe his daughter goes by her mother's maiden name. She doesn't go by the last name of Gacy, or at least she did until she got married. And I don't know about his son. Jersey Shore complete DVD collection, says Lemon Pie. Moonlight is guessing D. Carly's like, I know there was porno. There was porn. E, RC Cola. Royal Crown Cola. I can never find it anymore. I know it's still made, but every once in a while I can find RC Cola. Royal Crown. growing up, we always drank RC Cola, never Pepsi or Coke. It was always RC. Or the soda that came in a white can with the letters that just said soda or root beer on the cans, the white cans, black letters. All of Chad Daybell's books. He wasn't trying to bore him to death. It's good though. Good one though, Cement Shoes. Riot Card's going with D. You get it at grocery outlet? I don't know. Maybe I'll go to grocery outlet after this and see if they have it here. I have a grocery outlet that's probably about 8 miles from me. But your mother drank Tab and Fanta. Fanta, the Nazi version of Coca-Cola. That's why Fanta came up with so many different flavors. It's because they couldn't import the actual syrup to make Coca-Cola during the war. I won't buy a soda. Save a Lot, have RC. I don't know if you have those stores. Save a Lot? I don't. No, not around here. We don't have Save a Lot. We have Kroger, Winco, Yokes, grocery outlet, Bargain Grocery Outlet Center. And then we have a couple of independent, like, IGAs and stuff like that. We have one that used to be a Tom Thumb, but, kind of a smaller store, but they're not that anymore. Now they're called like, Grocery Express or something. All right, question 8. The correct answer is D as in dog. He always stocked his man cave with 2 different types of beer, that being Budweiser and Schlitz beer. He had Schlitz and Budweiser. They're the 2 that he always had, and he always had a plethora of marijuana and pornography, videos and magazines and books and whatever else, he could get his hands on. And it was all gay porn. It was not straight porn, like woman on man kind of stuff, but this was, and none of it was what you call, they weren't like snuff films, but they were just regular movies, on VHS, and stuff like that. But D as in dog, 2 different beers, marijuana, and pornography. Neon lights. He waited till they passed out from boredom, then pounced. That's good, Cement Shoes. I don't know. Maybe he did. He drugged them because he could do whatever the hell he wanted with them after he drugged them or got them drunk. The kind where they forgot the girls. Yes. All right. It is now time for a 6-minute break, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new here, we take 6 minutes and go do whatever you need to do. Maybe read Chud Daybell's books or read a chapter of it if you want in 6 minutes. Get yourself a snack, maybe a hot glass of tea and some cookies. Whatever you do, be safe and look out for mountain lions while you're taking your 6-minute break. We'll be back here at 40 minutes into the actual stream. It's 34 minutes now. His one survivor mentioned the porno, and he played in the basement. Yeah. Well, then when they arrested John Wayne Gacy, all this stuff was still there. I mean, he didn't buy like a little bit of beer. He bought cases and cases of them. And some of the photos of the basement, you can actually see them sitting there. And they have like in the cardboard thing, like he used to buy soda in a flat. He had whole bunches of beer just stacked up there. Because you never know when, you're going to need to get the next person, really drunk. I'm surprised he didn't have Pabst Blue Ribbon. I don't know. For some reason, he liked Schlitz and he liked Budweiser. Or maybe the younger, people he was convincing to come to his home liked Budweiser and Schlitz beer. So maybe, I don't know if he drank it. I would be assuming so. Break time. After the break, we have 8 more questions. 8 more questions after the break time. I'm surprised he didn't have Pabst Blue Ribbon. Well, I'm for one happy he didn't. Pabst Blue Ribbon now is like the hipster beer, at least in my area. Hipsters drink Pabst Blue Ribbon. Of course, there's always going to be the people who've been drinking it since they're a kid. Where I've since I was a teenager, I've been drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon and Old Style. I'm surprised he didn't have Old Style. I mean, that's more of a local brewery to him in his area. Isn't there a cowboy or a country singer actor named John Wayne? Well, there's John Wayne the actor, John Wayne the a very famous actor, John Wayne. He was also a singer. He countless times he's been on the Tonight Show and stuff like that with Johnny Carson back in the day. But sadly, the actor John Wayne is dead. It's cheap, very cheap. You drink Heineken. Here in my area, Heineken's hard to find, and so is like Labatt's. Both of them are very hard to find in my area. There's only it's kind of weird. It has to do more with the what distributors actually carry them. You can't get Molson, Labatt's, the Canadian beers like that. You can't get them here. You'd think that being closer to Canada, I could, but the distribution in this area just doesn't bring it in. But you can find like all the Modelo's and and stuff like that, and different beers from around the world. You don't drink anymore? That's all right. We got 3 more minutes left. 3 more minutes of the break, ladies and gentlemen. 3 more minutes. We can't get in this area. We also can't get Old Dutch potato chips, but you can get them in Idaho. You can get them in Oregon, but you can't get them in my area. Schlitz and PBR are 2 bitter beers. They are definitely a beer that is. I don't necessarily consider them bitter. They're an acquired taste, I guess would be the best way to put it. But I can't drink Anheuser Busch beers at all because it doesn't matter if it's Budweiser or Bud Light or whatever. They all give me a headache. It's something to have to do with the probably the methods that they brew it, what they put in it, the rice or barley, or I don't know what it is. Maybe it's more barley than others. I can't stand really heavy beers, so I don't like alcohol. I like food instead. There you go, Amy. One minute and 30 seconds left. And then we are armed to question number 9. 1 minute and 30 seconds. To each their own. Yep. Your first beer was Miller Lite. We drank Rainier beer growing up. Rainier beer. Or the Rainiers that ran in the wild in the commercial, the bottles of long neck bottles, like beer. I've been to the Rainier Brewery when it used to be in Olympia. Well, it was Olympia? Or no, it wasn't in Olympia. It was in Tacoma, Seattle, or something like that. I've been there. I was there when I was like 21. It's been a long time ago. But Olympia beer is another one that you can't find anymore. Um, there are so many breweries where I live now. It's unbelievable. They are popping up everywhere. 30 seconds left, ladies and gentlemen, and then we are back at it. Yeah, microbreweries and little breweries are everywhere nowadays. At least here in my area as well. So I would agree with that, Rayanna. There are a lot of them where I live. And we are back at it, ladies and gentlemen. Question number 9 is now on your screen. You remember Olympia beer? All right, question number 9. John loved music. Matter of fact, he loved all kinds of music. Which one from below is one of his favorite artists / bands of all time? Was it A, Hank Williams Sr., B, Neil Young, C, Glenn Campbell, or D, the Rolling Stones? Which one was one of his favorite artists or bands of all time? Seattle for Rainier beer? There used to be a giant Rainier R in Seattle on the brewery there. I don't know if they ever had a tasting room though. They probably did. Reichardt's going A? Question mark. Miley Cyrus says cement shoes. Sal D? Question mark. Lawrence Welk says inner peas. Tiny bubbles. And a 1 and a 2 and a back in the saddle again. John Wayne Gacy loved music. Matter of fact, he loved all kinds of music. And he did. He had a very eclectic music collection, you can say. And he listened to a lot of music on reel to reels and records and 8-tracks because he had one of those like huge consoles in his living room that had a record player, a reel to reel player, and an 8-track player. My license plate on my first car was Oli 012. Oh, that's cool. Anonymous, welcome. We are on question number 9, Anonymous, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining us. Reichert, E. Michael Jackson. Moonlight is guessing A. Hank Williams Sr. Your grandmother made you watch Lawrence Welk with her? I used to watch Lawrence Welk with my dad when I was younger. My dad was alive, obviously, at that time. This was back in the late 70s, early 80s. 2 Live Crew. Off me so horny. Says Lemon Pie. Oh, 2 Live Crew, as nasty as you want to be. Do I have that cassette? I have to look. 1 second. No, I don't have that one. I don't have As Nasty as You Want to Be. I got the Ghetto Boys, Public Enemy, a lot of others. Early 80s, rap, hip hop. They don't have Nasty as You Want to Be. Anonymous is guessing Glenn Campbell, C. Ladies and gentlemen, the correct answer to question 9 is, matter of fact, is C as in Glenn Campbell. C as in cat. Glenn Campbell was one of his favorite artists. He had a very extensive collection of music by Glenn Campbell and was a fond listener of Glenn Campbell in prison as well. Flava Flav with Public Enemy. All right, question 10. What was one thing John Wayne Gacy always preached about to his employees and continued to do so behind bars once convicted? Was it A, the evils of drugs and alcoholic beverages? B, morality? C, slacking off, no work ethic? Or D, homosexuality and the evils of it? What is one thing that John Wayne Gacy always preached about to his employees and continued to do so from behind bars once convicted? Marina's going with D. Lemon Pie as well with D. Amy is going with B. Faux show. Justin Timberlake. I bet he'd like Justin Timberlake. He probably thought he was a pretty boy. Evil at having more than two varieties of beer. That's a good one, Lemon Pie. He could have just stuck with just one type of beer, but he had two. He always stocked them up. Card's going with D. Marina. And who else went with D? Scrolling up. Lemon Pie with D. What was one thing John Wayne Gacy always preached about to his employees and continued to do so from behind bars once convicted? Which one of these did he always preach about? E, no white after Labor Day. Is that still a thing in her piece? Is it still faux pas, to wear white after Labor Day? I don't know. With kids and dogs and cats and everything else, I don't have a lot of things besides white T-shirts that I wear that are white. Don't own any real white clothes. I have some shorts and stuff like that, but they're like off-white. Lieutenant RN is going with B, morality. Rihanna is going with D. All right, ladies and gentlemen, question number 10. The correct answer is, I Googled it. No, it's not. Okay, good. So we can all wear white whenever we want now. The answer to question number 10 is, in fact, D as in dog. He constantly preached about the evils of homosexuality and how it was the undermining and destroying the work culture and ethics of today's society back when he was working to his employees, and that the people who were blatantly gay who came into KFC or he believed were gay got the worst shifts in the restaurant. He made them do the worst work, like scrubbing the grease or whatever underneath fryers. I'm using it as an example. I don't know if he really did that though. But he made people, who he believed might be gay and work for him to do other, menial jobs that nobody else wanted to do or should have had to have done. But the evils of homosexuality, he preached about it behind bars to the FBI. He preached about it to people who would talk to him in interviews. And he refused to ever consider himself a homosexual. He always said that he was not. But D as in dog is the correct answer to question 10. Lived a double life. Oh, yes, he did. All right, question 11. John sadly ran out of room to bury young men under the crawl space of his home. So he had to think quick. What did John Wayne Gacy do with the rest of them? Was it A, toss them in the river? B, toss them into a fire pit? C, toss them into trash cans? Or D, stack them in a spare bedroom on the floor? What did John Wayne Gacy do once he ran out of room under the crawl space of his home? Lieutenant RN and Sal And lemon pie are going with A. Amy's going with C. In a van down by the river. He fed them the mountain lions, says Cement Shoes. Anonymous is going with B. Purple B as well. What did John Wayne Gacy do with all of them after he ran out of room? Steph F is going with A. Marina, I'm guessing D says Marina. E, special new mystery meat at KFC. Oh, ooh, lemon pie. Ooh, yeah. I mean, hell, there's a very good likelihood, though, that Jeffrey Dahmer fed human meat to his neighbors. A very good likelihood that it happened. They're never going to be able to prove it, but there's a very good likelihood of that fact. John sadly ran out of room to bury young men under the crawl space of his home. So he had to think quick. What did he do with the rest of them? Ladies and gentlemen, question 11. The correct answer is A as in apple. He tossed them off of a bridge into the river. Didn't know what to do with them. He had no more room and he still kept on killing, so got to get rid of them. Tossed them off of a bridge into the river. All right, question 12. A master at manipulating the facts around his crimes, what one piece of evidence did John believe would set him free from prison? Was it A, DNA, B, report from the FBI, C, eyewitness statements, or D, a confession by another inmate? A master at manipulating the facts around his crimes. What one piece of evidence did John believe would set him free from prison? Right, Anna is going with C, so is Amy. Lemon Pie is going with D. Purple is going with D, so is Marina. Anonymous B. Moonlight's guessing D. Rackhart E, his KFC secret recipe. Did you know that if you go to a KFC restaurant today, that the management or anyone who works at KFC still does not know what all the ingredients are that are in a KFC, the secret blend of spices that it's made and shipped to them. People have intercepted and stolen the actual, batter mix itself. It's mixed in with flour and had it analyzed, but they can only say that there's only, this is in there, this is not in there. But they don't know what the actual ratio is. And KFC also does something, unique with their actual powdered batter. But the recipe is still kept in a vault underneath lock and key. And only one person knows half of the actual recipe who works at corporate, and somebody knows the other half. You have to get them both together to actually know it. Just like the recipe for Coca-Cola. Y'all make me want some chicken. That's bad because some people can have allergies. That's true. But they tell you, up front, there's certain things that are in there. Don't eat at KFC if you're allergic to peanuts because they use peanut oil. Don't go to KFC if you're allergic to, gluten and other things too. But they have the right to protect their proprietary, recipe. But I understand that completely. Colonel Sanders kissed my hand when I was a baby. I was the other white meat. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you got to meet Colonel Sanders, right? Oh my God. That's funny stuff, but disturbing a little at the same time. All right, question 12. The correct answer is B as in boy. A report from the FBI that he believed was doctored to make him look guilty was a piece of evidence along with the transcript that he used to keep in a 3-ring binder. Every single bit of testimony and evidence was in that 3-ring binder, and he believed that the FBI's report that was fraudulent was going to be one of the pieces of evidence that would get him a new trial and set him free. Of course, it wasn't, and he was guilty, so he never got that new trial. What he got was a zappy instead. Wasn't Gacy and his father the owners of franchise KFC that gave his father-in-law, Reichart, his father-in-law? He married into the business. His father-in-law was a very successful man. He owned a lot more than just KFCs. He also owned True Value hardware stores. He owned a couple of car dealerships. Now, this is his father-in-law, not Gacy. He very successful man in his lifetime. But he put Gacy in charge of the KFCs, and there were multiple KFCs that he was actually in charge of. If you want to watch a good video about Gacy, Lamont at Large has a video where he actually goes to one of the KFCs and talks about an incident that happened in 1962, and then it's in the late 70s mid 70s before he was actually arrested. But Lamont at Large has a good video on it as well on Gacy. Coca-Cola from Mexico is the best. Yeah, because it uses real cane sugar and not this, this other high fructose corn syrup that they, make it cheaper here in America. Pepsi uses high fructose corn syrup as well, and so does every other bottle manufacturing out there. But yeah, the sodas from Mexico have real cane sugar in them, as opposed to high fructose corn syrup. So I would agree. All right, question number 13. It was proven during his trial John paid underage young men for sex. He then would blackmail them to keep the abuse going. How much did he pay each victim the first time only? Was it A, $25, B, $10, C, $5, or D, $50? I love watching Lamont at Large. I saw that video. Will, you did? Well, cool. I think a lot of what Lamont does is really Lamont at Large, and On the Run. I watch both those channels mainly. He has others. Black Bigelow. I don't watch that one at all. I don't even know if he still uploads content to that one. But about eight months ago, somewhere in there, Lamont actually gave me a shout out on his channel about my coverage of Jared Lysick from Adventures for Profit. We know what the real name is, but he actually gave me a shout out when he was at Bucky's truck stop, gas station. Black Bigelow is your favorite. Does he still upload to it, Cement Shoes? I haven't checked on it in a while. You like Lamont Anonymous? That's good. E, D, and A bucket of chicken without purpose. Without purpose. As do I. I don't like anybody who abuses children. I have a very low tolerance for it, Reichart. And he clearly abused his relative, and he admitted to it a lot over the 30 years. All right, it was proven during his trial that John paid for underage sex with young men. He would then blackmail them to keep the abuse going. How much did he pay them the first time only? The correct answer is D as in dog. He paid them $50 for the first time to have actual contact with them. And then after that, he would blackmail them with that, what had taken place during the encounter to keep the abuse going. But he never paid them ever again, only the first time. And these weren't just instances that took place in his home. Sometimes they were in his car, in town, while he was away on business. And it goes from the late 60s all the way through and up until like a month, I think, or so before he was actually arrested for the murders. Yeah, $50 the first time. But some of them he would they just walk away afterwards, and then he would use that information to abuse them again. He was a master manipulator, and he used it, he blackmailed them with the information. Who are they going to believe? A young man like you, or a prominent businessman? He did it all the way through. All right, question number 14 is now on the screen. John Wayne Gacy famously would speak with anyone or write anyone who he believed could help him, and help him in multiple different ways. We're not just talking about like financially, but help him. Even if it was a long con by him. What did he require everyone he talked to do in person? Was it A, refer to him only as John or Mr. Gacy? B, take off their shoes? C, fill out an application? Or D, tell him in advance if they were gay? I've gotten two correct so far. I thought I knew it all about Gacy. I know an awful lot about Ed Kemper, but there's a lot about Kemper's life I don't know about. I don't know what his relationship is like with his family. If I was doing trivia that was more aimed towards that side of Kemper's life, I wouldn't know the answers. I probably only get a couple right. E, a paper rock scissors match. That's good, lemon pie. Bye, Moonlight. Taking off, Moonlight. You have a wonderful day and weekend ahead week. And thank you for joining us tonight. Right card's going with C, Steph C, Marina C. Say, Mother May I first. John Wayne Gacy famously would speak with anyone or write anyone who he believed could help him. And by help him, we're talking about if they offered legal help, smuggling things into the prison for him to use as barter and trade with other inmates, write him letters, give him money so he could buy things on commissary, you name it, anything that made his life, easier to live. Kemper is scary. If he hadn't turned himself in, he'd probably be like the Zodiac. Yeah, I can see that. View is still with us, saying goodbye to Anonymous. Oh, Anonymous. Oh, you take care, Anonymous. Sorry if I mixed that up. Moonlight View C? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Right, Anna is going with D. Marina is changing it to D. Question number 14. Lieutenant Ariane is going with C. Question number 14. The correct answer is A, as in apple. You could call him John. You could call him Pogo the Clown. You could call him anything in writing. But when he talked to you in person, he required that everybody in person refer to him only by the name of John or Mr. Gacy. He would not respond to your questions, and a couple of times, instances, he ended interviews, with the media and other people because they didn't call him either John or Mr. Gacy. Don't call me late for dinner. My peeps, Good evening, my peeps, and welcome. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. All right, question number 15. John Wayne Gacy had a certain type of young men he got aroused from. Looking at his background, they all looked like him at a certain age. Each young man had to have what physically? Was it A, large male genitalia, B, large chest, C, large strong arms, or D, long hair and a cute smile? Question number 15. John Wayne Gacy had a certain type of young man he got aroused from. Which one of these physical traits did John get aroused over? Lemon Pie is going with D. Lemon Pie is going with E, a unibrow. E, a chin like Chad Daybell's. Which chin? The double chin? Triple chin? And Moonlight, I don't know. A unibrow. That's good, Lemon Pie. John Wayne Gacy had a certain type of young men he got aroused from. Looking at his background, they all looked like him at a certain age. Each young man had to have what physically? My peeps is going with C. Steph's going with D. Sal, B. Question number 15. Boop, doop, doop, boop, 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 boop. All right, question number 15. The correct answer is C as in cat. Large, strong arms. And not only large as like in circumference, but large as in long, that could hug around him and hold him. That was what he liked. Either really strong physical arms or long, strong arms that could hug him and hold him. Yeah, large arms, large, strong arms. Elvis hips. All right. Question number 16. In 1968, Gacy was convicted of one count of sodomy. He got lucky it was only that charge as he paid one of his employees to beat the victim up. Sentenced to 10 years in prison, how long did he serve? Was it A, 1 year, B, 19 months, C, 23 months and 28 days, or was it D, 3 years? Made him feel safe. 3 for 12. Yes, I got 3 answers now. There you go. How long of a prison sentence did he have to actually serve on that 10-year sentence? C or D? LOL, says Moonlight. Rockhart's going with B, Marina D, Lemon Pie D, Sal B, Amy B. My Peeps is going with A. Cement Shoes is going with D. But he thinks he got no time or he got a little bit of time. I'm not keeping track of my score. You don't have to. It's completely optional, Amy, because he was a good boy. 10-year sentence for sodomy. How long did he actually serve? Left Heart RN is going with B, 19 months. How long? Question number 16. Do, 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 do. 1968. Gacy was convicted of 1 count of sodomy. He got lucky. There was only that charge, as he paid one of his employees to beat the victim up. Yeah, he paid that employee to beat the victim up and tell the victim not to appear for court. It's lucky he wasn't charged with at least 2 other felonies, involved in that situation. Right, Anna is going with C. Steph is changing C to A. Wonder what his last meal was. I know exactly what it is, Moonlight, and I'll tell you in just a second. The correct answer to question 16 is C as in cat. He served just shy. They let him out on the 28th day after almost serving 2 years on a 10-year bid. All right, to answer your question, Moonlight, his last meal consisted of the following: a bucket of KFC fried chicken, original recipe, not the extra crispy, strawberries, fried shrimp, root beer, and I think he also had a glass of water, but I'm not entirely sure on that one, and French fries. That is what he ate for his final meal. So fried chicken, shrimp, and strawberries and soda, and I think he had a glass of water. And he ate it all. He ate everything. And they didn't actually do the execution until he was done. All right, moving on to bonus question number 1. Bonus question number 1. The entire time John was in prison serving his sentence before being executed, he had a love interest with a woman named Cheryl. Did the 2 of them ever decide to marry? Is it A, yes, they had hoped to; B, no, they didn't want to; C, no, they couldn't because she was already married; or D, yes, but they needed the governor's approval? But people got life sentences for weed in those days. Yeah, there's a lot of people been incarcerated for an awful long time, cement shoes, for distribution of marijuana or possession. And in some states, they're actually retroactively fixing those sentences and letting people out now who are still behind bars for it, since the laws have changed. In other states, they're like, when you were convicted, we don't care. That was what the law was then. Stay there. Lemon pie. John was married to KFC. Yeah, he was married to his wife. He was married to KFC and to murdering people, I guess you could say. Spinning the wheel. C, says Moonlight. Cement shoes going with D. Marina B. Sal C. Right Hart going with D. Steph is going with A. Lemon pie C and Amy D. Bonus question number 1. John had a love interest during his entire sentence prior to being executed with a woman named Cheryl. Did the 2 of them ever decide to get married? The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is C as in cat. No, she was already married. She was married to another man who was in another prison on, not on death row, but was doing a stint of life without the possibility of parole. And she had struck up a conversation with John Wayne Gacy, of all sick mothers, to do it to, and fell in love with him. And the 2 of them, he wouldn't talk about the relationship other than to say that she was a very special person to him. But they never decided to get married because she was already married to another man who was going to die behind prison. The prison walls, not behind prison, behind the prison walls. All right, bonus question number 2. When 60 Minutes interviewed John Wayne Gacy prior to the month of his execution by phone, what was the last thing he said to the reporter in closing of that actual call? Was it A, tell them to kiss my ass? B, I don't fear dying? C, as I take my last breath, I know I have won? Or D, they have never proven anything. I'm good. When 60 Minutes interviewed John Wayne Gacy prior to the month of his execution by phone, what was the last thing he said to the reporter in closing? Very weird. KFC secret recipe. He disclosed the secret recipe. She knew how to pick them, right? Queen of the weird. Didn't they use to sentence some people to up to 10 years for being in possession of one joint? I would assume so, Reichart. I mean, there are people out there that have gotten much longer sentences than that for possession of marijuana in different states, but not so much anymore. Some places, like in Seattle, you can openly, do drug sales right in front of the police, as long as it's for small for your own personal use. They look the other way. It's the same thing in other locations across the United States too. I can think of a couple of different instances that are happening in California, that where open drug sales are happening every day, and they're just like, no, we're not going to put people in jail for this shit anymore. If you do a larger purchase or sales, yeah, they'll arrest you. What was the last answer for the bonus question number 1? Is C. C as in cat. No, they never decided to get married because she was married to another individual who was doing life plus, who was going to die behind the prison walls. So he was married, she was married to another man who was in prison, in a completely different prison, not in the same prison as John. 20 years for possession of sales was life in the old days. Marina's going with B. "60 Minutes interviewed Gacy prior to the month of his execution by phone. What was the last thing he said to the reporter in closing? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the very same thing he said the day of his actual execution. He repeated the same thing. Kiss my ass is what he told the reporter in closing. He told him to tell them to kiss my ass. And when he had his chance to say his final words before being executed, he said, kiss my ass. She was a playa, right? That is it for the questions for tonight. How did you do? 14-18 correct, 8-13, 3-7, 1-2, or E, don't judge me. I'm a mountain lion expert here. Each bonus question is worth 1 point. Give yourself a letter grade if you want. You don't have to. Next, these are all of I put this in here for tonight. These are all of the suggested ones that I do for trivia night. People have been very helpful in suggesting different trivia nights, and these are the most popular. There are some additional ones that are not on here, but they've only been suggested by 1 or 2 people. But all of these have more than, say, I don't know, 3 or 4 at the lowest. But some of those, if it says part 2, it means that to do a part 2 on that actual subject, or in the case of Ted Bundy, do a part 3. Taylor Shaw business. Freaking Barry Mountain Morphew. Taylor Shaw business has been suggested. It's on my list here, Cement Shoes. Grading on a curve, I made an A. There you go, Steph. Would you do Henry Luca? Add Henry Luca. Henry Luca is not on the list currently. I will write it down. Hold on. Henry Luca. Mountain Lions. But Rayanna, I definitely wrote down Henry Luca. That is the first suggestion for him, and thank you. I appreciate it. But again, like I said, most of these have more than 2, suggested that I cover them. Dahlia, she's not on there. Huh. Yeah, I'll put it down again. Dahlia, I have to look to see if that one's on the list or if I have gotten any before interviews. But thank you. H.H. Holmes, Andrea Klinko, Albert Fish would be super interesting. Albert Fish has come up quite a bit, or that some people have wanted to know about more just about the type of crimes that other people like Albert Fish. So Magnata, Luca, Nata. There is so much to that story. Yeah. Stephanie Larza. That's the see, I've tried to do interviews. I've tried to do Stephanie. It's trying to find enough interesting trivia out there that people would know. But yes, I have one that I'm actually currently working on for Stephanie. So that one is actually in the works. It's not on the list here because I'm actively working on that one. It's trying to come up with 18 questions that people would know from the media, information out there about the crazy nut. H.H. Holmes would be, I definitely, Andrea Klinko, the serial killer from Russia. That one might be, I know it's on the list there. It's the third one down on the left-hand column. But your last live about Juan Corona virus was awesome. Too bad that I was unable to be part of that last week's live. Juan Corona. Now, you can always watch and rewind. Combine Stephanie Larza with Cops Who Kill. Ooh, that's a good one. Cement Shoes. Cops Who Kill. Who Kill. That would be an interesting one right there. Oh, but I was going to say about Andrea Kalito, or whatever how you pronounce his stupid name, the serial killer from Russia. I don't know how much people actually would know about. I could try to find the easiest questions about him, but I mean, does everybody here study serial killers from other countries? So that one might be hard. Sarah Boone is interesting too. Sarah Boone. I'm not familiar with Sarah Boone, but I wrote it down, Amy. I will look into it. But one of the ones you see on your screen right now is what's going to be next week's. So there's an idea right there. If you take a snapshot of the screen, one of the people who is name is on that screen right there will be next week's trivia night. There's a Louisiana female cop on death row who was a killer cop. Can't remember her name. Ooh. But before everybody starts to take off here, I want to give a massive shout out to one of my Patreon supporters. Bernice was able. She gave me a donation tonight for to use to get a Getty image license for all of the pictures of Gacy. Half of the pictures you see tonight are controlled and copyright protected by Getty Images. Even though some of the pictures, there are some that are like that are you can find online, but even if they're online, it doesn't mean that Getty Images doesn't own the copyrights to them. And you can take those pictures offline all day long for your own personal use. But when you make them in a rebroadcast like this, you have to have a license to protect yourself. Otherwise, they can come back and try to take the 8.5 cents that I make for the stream. So you have to have a license. But Bernice, again, you may not know her by her name. I didn't see her in the actual stream tonight, but she uses another screen name. But she is here. I wouldn't say fairly often, but she definitely does watch quite a bit and comment sometimes. But again, thank you to Bernice for the PayPal donation. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that each and every one of you, unintentional indeed. Suitcase Sarah. Sarah killed her boyfriend in suitcase and he suffocated. Yeah, isn't that just sick? She put him in he crawled into the suitcase and then she just refused to let him out until he suffocated. That's a hell of a way to go. And especially as someone, doing something like that to you would never expect it to. Man, it's terrible. It's just like people who commit crimes against children. It's like, why? Why do you do it? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Lots of fun. Well, thank you, Moonlight View. I appreciate it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed tonight's trivia, I hope that you will give this a thumbs up. And if you didn't enjoy it, give it a thumbs down, whichever. Leave a comment afterwards. If you want to watch them, you can watch the entire thing in rewind, or you can, binge watch. There are over 260. I think this is the 267th or 266th trivia night that I have done in total. You can watch the playlist for I don't know how long that is. Usually, most of them used to last about an hour and a half. But I used to have it. There were 20 questions in total. I don't think we'll ever do 20 questions again. 18 seems to be enough. You can break it down with a break in between it for for everyone. But thanks, Will. I will look forward to this. So, Rayanne, I'm glad that you look forward to it. I look forward to doing these each and every Sunday night. I just wish that we could get more people out there involved. If you're a subscriber, I hope that you click that bell icon, so be notified, but you don't have to. I know for some people, the notification system with YouTube doesn't always work. Now I've heard that the notification system is working a lot more when it comes to live streams. If you click on the notify me, even if you turned off the bell notification on YouTube, if you click on the actual notify me from the Monday morning, I put the link to the stream along with a sneak peek trivia question to the upcoming trivia. If you click on that notify, I've heard that a lot of people are getting notifications that way. Now that notification only goes out 5 minutes before the stream starts. And of course you have to be online or on your device, and you'll get it as either a text or You know, if you have that version, you know, of the notification, you know, clicked, because you can click on the bell icon to be notified of everything that I do. I would highly suggest you don't do that because I put out a lot of content. A lot of fun. Well, thank you, Sal. I appreciate you being here tonight with us. I hope you have a wonderful week and everybody else as well. And stay safe out there. And again, ladies and gentlemen, bye. And I will see you all again very soon. You stay safe out there and have a terrific week.